My friends, let me begin by asking you a question that stirs the heart. What if you could make someone think of you endlessly? What if their mind, no matter how far they travel or how busy their day becomes, returned again and again to the image of you? What if you could awaken in them a desire so strong, so irresistible, that they could not help but be drawn to you as a moth is drawn to the flame? This is not a fantasy. It is not chance, nor luck, nor the roll of destiny's dice. It is a law, an unbreakable principle woven into the very fabric of existence. You see, every thought you think, every assumption you hold, every image you embrace in the silence of your mind is a living force. It does not remain with you. It travels, it moves, it communicates in ways unseen, until the very person you have set your focus upon begins to feel what you feel, think what you think, and act in accordance with the picture you have impressed upon them. My friends, there is a secret I must reveal to you tonight. A truth so profound that when you grasp it, you will never again wonder how to influence the thoughts and desires of another. The secret is this: imagination is not a private act. What you imagine, what you hold as real within yourself, is communicated silently, irresistibly to those around you. You may think a thought is locked in the prison of your mind, but it is not. Every image you embrace, every word you speak inwardly, every feeling you cultivate, these are currents of energy moving invisibly, reaching others without your lips ever parting. Consider for a moment that you are not a body limited by flesh and bone. You are consciousness, vast and boundless. Within this consciousness lies a power to project, to transmit, to impress upon others the very state you are now occupying. If you imagine someone thinking of you, missing you, longing for you, that image does not remain confined. It leaves you, travels through the unseen corridors of mind, and takes root in them. Suddenly, they begin to feel restless. They begin to wonder where you are. They begin to sense an urge, a pull, a fascination, and they do not know why. I tell you, this is not fantasy. This is law. The world you see, the relationships you encounter, the people who cross your path, they are all responding to the silent broadcast of your inner world. Imagination is the great transmitter, and every time you assume a picture of yourself in relation to another, you send forth a command that cannot return void. Perhaps you think, but how can I know this is true? I say, test it. Tonight, before you close your eyes, picture the one you desire. See them in vivid detail. Imagine their eyes upon you, their smile directed at you, their words filled with longing for you. Do not beg, do not plead, but calmly accept this image as the truth. Let it fill you with a quiet satisfaction. Fall asleep in the feeling that is already done. And then watch. You will notice small signs, little shifts in their behavior, sudden impulses that bring them closer to you. They will act, they will speak, they will move in harmony with the scene you have silently impressed upon them. You see, thought clothed in feeling is never idle. It is a seed, and every seed has within it the pattern of fulfillment. Plant in imagination the seed of being desired, of being irresistible, of being the object of their constant thought. And the harvest must come. It is not a matter of if, but when. The mistake most make is to believe that imagination is daydreaming, something empty, something without power. But I tell you, imagination is the very substance of reality. It is the womb from which all things are born. Nothing appears on the stage of life that was not first rehearsed in the theater of the mind. And so, if you would have another obsess over you, you must first obsess over the image within yourself, not with desperation, but with calm conviction, knowing that what you imagine is more real than the evidence of your senses. When the outer world contradicts your desire, do not be moved. Do not chase. Do not cry for attention. Instead, return inwardly to the silent act. Close your eyes and see them yearning for you. Feel their embrace. Hear their voice whispering that you are always on their mind. Let this be more real to you than the silence of your phone or the absence of their presence. Persist in this inner vision, and soon the outer world must bend to the power of your unseen command. For the one who masters imagination masters influence. Without uttering a word, without lifting a finger, you can move the hearts of others. You can draw them near. You can cause them to think of you, to dream of you, to crave you, and they will believe it is their own thought, their own desire, never knowing it was your silent communication that stirred their soul. My friends, the great secret lies not in what others do, not in their words, not in their actions, but in what you assume. The world mirrors back the posture of your inner being. If you assume that another thinks of you, desires you, is restless for you, then that assumption becomes the law of their behavior. You may believe they act from their own will, but in truth, they cannot escape the state you have fixed for them within yourself. Every assumption once persisted in hardens into fact. This is the silent law at work in every moment of your life. You are not waiting for them to choose you. You are assuming that they already have. You are not hoping for their affection. You are assuming that it is yours now. And when this assumption becomes natural, when you no longer wonder if it is true but rest in the feeling that it is so, the outer world rearranges itself to reflect it. Think for a moment of someone you long to hear from. In your present state, perhaps you say, they are distant, they do not think of me, they do not care. The moment you shift your inner stance and declare, they are reaching for me, they are consumed with thoughts of me, they cannot rest until they are with me, then the law is set in motion. Your assumption is not idle. It is a force that shapes reality. It may seem impossible. The senses will mock you. They will show you silence where you want words, absence where you want presence, coldness where you want warmth. But if you give more weight to what you assume than to what you see, the seen must yield to the unseen. The senses show only the harvest of yesterday's assumptions. The seed you plant now through assumption must bring forth tomorrow's experience. You are never at the mercy of another's choice. You are never helpless. You are never without influence. For the choice is yours. What will you assume? Will you assume rejection and so live in the shadow of it? Or will you assume desire and so awaken it in them? Assumption is not pretending. It is not make-believe. It is the deliberate acceptance of a state as true until the feeling of its reality fills you completely. If you assume that they are obsessed with you, then you feel the thrill of being desired. You walk as one who is wanted. You think from the place of already having. That feeling, that inner conviction radiates from you silently, and they must catch it. They must respond. Perhaps you have noticed this in your own life. When you believe someone admired you, you carried yourself differently. Without effort, you projected confidence, charm, magnetism, and soon they confirmed what you had already assumed. Likewise, when you assumed you were forgotten, ignored, unwanted, everything they did seemed to prove it. Do you not see? They were only playing the part you had written for them with your assumptions. The secret, then, is to write the play you wish them to perform. Do not wait for them to show you signs. Create the sign within yourself. Assume that they long for you. Assume that they cannot go a day without your presence. Assume that their every thought bends toward you. Do this not with strain, but with calm assurance. Enter this state as though it were the most natural thing in the world. Persist in this and you will notice the shift. At first it may be subtle, a sudden message, a fleeting glance, a spark of attention. Then, as your assumption deepens, the outer world gathers momentum. They will call, they will seek, they will confess what you have already known within yourself. Do not be swayed by appearances. If they seem cold, assume warmth. If they seem silent, assume words of love. If they seem distant, assume nearness. Always assume the state you desire and let the world catch up, for it must. It cannot resist the power of a sustained assumption. You hold in your hands the key to influence, to attraction, to desire itself. The world is not waiting to decide what to give you. It is waiting for you to decide what to assume. And once you decide, once you fix the assumption in your imagination and live from it as though it were already real, the world has no choice but to play along. For assumption persisted in becomes fact. My friends, the world you move through each day is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state you carry within. People are not acting independently of your inner world. They are cast in roles that your consciousness has silently written for them. When you look at another and say, they do not see me, they do not love me, they are distant from me, it is not they who declare this. It is your own reflection coming back to you. Change the image you hold within, and the mirror of life must change with it. Think of a mirror in the physical sense. When you frown into it, it frowns back. When you smile, it smiles in return. You do not beg the mirror to change its expression. You simply alter your own, and instantly the reflection follows. So it is with consciousness. The world has no choice but to echo the state you occupy. If you assume that another is cold, they will appear cold. If you assume they are captivated by you, they will appear captivated. The outer world has no life of its own. It is a shadow, an echo, an image of what you are entertaining within. How often do you look at someone and say, why are they treating me this way, without realizing they are powerless to treat you in any way but the way you have imagined them to be? Your assumptions are the sculptor's hands, and the people in your life are the clay. They cannot escape the form you persistently give them in imagination. If you want another to adore you, begin by altering the way you see them in the secret place within. Do not dwell on indifference, for indifference will grow. Do not rehearse scenes of rejection, for rejection will repeat itself. Instead, clothe them in your mind with the qualities you long to see. Picture them devoted, picture them tender, picture them restless without you. Persist in that picture, and soon you will find that the mirror of life reflects the transformation. It may appear strange at first, for the world of sense seems so solid, so fixed. But it is only fixed in the measure you refuse to change your inner state. The moment you dare to imagine differently, the mirror begins to blur, to shift, to rearrange itself until it reflects your new assumption. People cannot help but act the part you have cast them in, for they are only mirrors of the self you are assuming to be in relation to them. This is why two people can encounter the same person and draw forth different responses. One may say, he is kind, attentive, full of affection, while another says, he is cold, distant, unfeeling. Both are correct, for each is only seeing the reflection of their own inner assumption. The man himself is a mirror, responding not to who he is in essence, but to the state of consciousness confronting him. So if you would change the way another treats you, cease trying to change them outwardly. The mirror will never alter while you keep your expression fixed. Change the expression within yourself, and the mirror must obey. See them differently. Feel differently about yourself in relation to them. Hold within you the conviction that they cannot resist you, that they are bound to you with cords of love and desire, and soon they will act out that part as though it were their own idea. Do not be deceived by delay. A mirror shows instantly, but consciousness often requires persistence before the reflection takes full form. Yet the law is certain. Hold to the image you desire, refuse to be moved by appearances, and the world will bow to your persistence. Understand this. No one has ever treated you apart from your own assumption of them. Even when they seem to act of their own accord, it was your inner state calling forth that behavior. This truth is difficult for many to accept, for it places the full responsibility on you. But in that responsibility lies freedom. For if they are only mirroring you, then you need never again beg for affection, plead for attention, or fear rejection. Simply change the inner image, and the reflection will change itself. The world is a mirror, my friends, and every face you see is only revealing the secret thoughts you hold about yourself in relation to them. Choose carefully the picture you sustain, for it will not remain a dream. It must in time appear before you, clothed in flesh and action. And when it does, you will recognize it for what it is, the echo of your own consciousness, returning to you, perfectly mirrored. There exists a bond so subtle, so invisible, yet so powerful, that it governs the way minds and hearts are drawn together. This bond is not spoken through lips, nor heard with ears, but it moves silently through the field of thought. When you dwell upon another with feeling, when you hold them in the grasp of a clear and vivid inner picture, you awaken this unseen connection, and they cannot resist the pull. They begin to think of you, not knowing why. They feel restless, as though something is tugging at them from afar, urging them to look in your direction. What they call impulse, what they call instinct, is nothing more than the telepathic current you have set in motion. Do not imagine that thoughts vanish into the void. No, every thought clothed in emotion becomes a messenger. It travels, it seeks its target, it impresses itself upon the one you have imagined. And they, without knowing the source, respond. Have you never thought of someone suddenly, only for them to call you within minutes? Have you never felt a longing rise unbidden in your heart, only to discover that the very person was thinking of you? These are not coincidences. These are whispers of the silent bond that unites all minds. When you desire to be on the mind of another, the secret is not in chasing them, not in begging for their attention, but in mastering this current. Hold them in imagination as already yours. Feel their presence with you. Hear their voice declaring their desire. Let the scene be so real that it stirs your emotions. That emotional intensity is the current, the power that sends the thought out with force. Without struggle, without effort, it finds them, and they begin to think and feel in harmony with your vision. It is not manipulation. It is not trickery, for they are not slaves to your will. They are simply responding to the vibration you have entered. Imagine love, and you radiate love. Imagine desire, and you project desire. Imagine obsession, and they cannot help but feel it echoing within them, for consciousness is one. You are not separate from them. You are connected, joined in a vast field of mind, and what you assume of them is silently felt in their depths. Do you see now why it is so vital to guard what you think and feel? For every idle image, every careless assumption, every scene you repeat within yourself becomes a message broadcast to those around you. If you think of them as distant, they will drift. If you think of them as indifferent, they will act indifferent. But if you think of them as captivated by you, drawn to you, obsessed with you, they cannot help but fall into the role you have silently written for them. This is why one person can walk into a room and command attention without a word. It is not their face, their clothing, their charm alone. It is the inner picture they carry of themselves in relation to others. They assume that they are desired, and the telepathic current radiates outward, impressing itself upon every mind they encounter. And so others find themselves drawn, fascinated, compelled, without knowing why. You may ask, how can this be done? It begins with stillness. Withdraw for a moment from the clamor of the outer world. In the quiet, summon the image of the one you desire. See them vividly. Feel their energy moving toward you. Let your heart swell with the certainty that they are reaching, calling, longing for you. Do not make it a wish. Make it a fact in imagination. Feel it so deeply that it becomes more real than the world around you. In that moment, the current is set, and they, wherever they may be, will feel it. Do not be surprised when they act as though compelled by an unseen force. They may reach for you suddenly, speak words you once only heard in silence, or confess desires that match the ones you have silently projected. They will call it chance, coincidence, fate, but you will know it was the telepathic bond responding to your vision. Guard this secret well, for it is the key to unseen influence. When you understand that every thought and feeling you send forth is planting itself in the mind of another, you will no longer waste time in fear or doubt. Instead, you will deliberately choose the scenes, the images, the assumptions you wish them to live out, and live them out they must, for the connection cannot be broken. What you vividly accept within is silently communicated, and what is communicated must be expressed. The secret of all manifestation, the key that unlocks every door of desire, is the art of living in the end. To live in the end is to abandon the posture of hoping, wishing, waiting, and to step boldly into the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. When you live in the end, you no longer ask, when will it come? How will it happen? For you know it has already happened in the unseen, and the outer world is but a shadow catching up to the reality you have already claimed within yourself. Consider the difference between the one who desires and the one who has. The one who desires is restless, uncertain, always looking outward for signs, begging life to confirm their hope. but the one who has rests in calm assurance. They walk differently, they think differently, they radiate a quiet confidence that cannot be feigned. That state of having, of already being fulfilled, is the secret state you must enter. Suppose you wish another to be obsessed with you, to think of you constantly, to seek you with urgency. If you live in the state of waiting, you push the fulfillment away. Every time you say, I want them to think of me, you declare that they are not thinking of you now. But if instead you assume the feeling that they cannot stop thinking of you, if you carry yourself as one who is already adored, then the outer world must mirror that assumption. To live in the end is to feel the thrill of accomplishment now, to taste the victory before it appears, to clothe yourself in the mood of fulfillment until it becomes natural. This is not pretending, it is not self-deception, it is creation. The world is only a delayed reflection of the state you occupy. If you walk in the state of absence, the mirror shows you absence. If you walk in the state of fulfillment, the mirror shows you fulfillment. And so you must ask yourself, not what do I want, but if it were already mine, how would I feel? That feeling is the key. Once you seize it and wear it as your own, the outer world must bow. Think of sleep. Each night you surrender yourself to its embrace, and the world of dreams opens before you. You do not struggle. You do not force. It comes naturally. So too with living in the end. It is a surrender to the feeling of wish fulfilled. It is to enter the scene of your desire and dwell there until it feels more real than the evidence of your senses. When you dwell in that place, when you make it your home, the outer world will rearrange itself to bring it forth. You may say, but the facts deny it. They have not called, they are not near, they show no sign of desire. Facts are only shadows, and shadows must yield to the light of assumption. Do not argue with shadows. Instead, turn inward and live from the end. Feel their nearness. Hear their confession. Walk as though you are already the one they cannot resist. In time, the shadows must shift to match the inner light. Have you ever noticed that when you expect something with certainty, it almost always comes to pass, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because expectation is simply living in the end without realizing it. You assumed it was yours, you felt it as natural, and so it appeared. What you call coincidence is only the outer play catching up to the script you have already written. To live in the end is to refuse the posture of waiting. Waiting says, it is not yet mine, but fulfillment says, it is mine already. Which voice will you choose? For life listens and life obeys. If you dwell in lack, you will experience lack. If you dwell in fullness, you will experience fullness. The outer world is plastic to the inner state. It cannot resist the form you impress upon it. So tonight, choose the end and live there. Enter the state of being loved, of being wanted, of being unforgettable. Feel it so deeply that when you open your eyes, the world seems only a pale echo of the reality within. Return to it again and again until it becomes second nature, until you no longer wonder if it will come, but rest in the quiet knowing that it already has. And when you reach this point, when the end feels more real than the present fact, the end must crystallize into form. The outer world must yield to the inner world, for the inner is the cause and the outer the effect. The most powerful conversations you will ever have are not the ones spoken with the tongue, but the ones whispered in the silence of your mind. These silent dialogues shape your world far more than the words you speak aloud. Every day, whether you are aware of it or not, you carry on inner conversations with those you know. You imagine their voices, their responses, their attitudes toward you. And these unseen exchanges, repeated and sustained, are the very scripts that the outer world is compelled to play. If you would have another adore you, think of you, even obsess over you, the place to begin is not with them, but with the voice you hear in your imagination. For if you hear them saying what you desire to hear, if you feel their tone of longing, if you answer them as though it were real, that inner dialogue will soon echo in the conversations of waking life. Have you not noticed how often your fears are confirmed? You imagine them rejecting you. You replay scenes of silence. You hear their voice speaking words of indifference in your mind. And soon enough, the outer world delivers the very rejection you rehearsed. It was never fate, never accident, but the fruit of your inner conversation. In the same way, when you reverse this process and imagine with intention, when you craft the words you wish to hear and dwell on them until they feel natural, the world must yield. They will call, they will write, they will act in a way that matches the dialogue you have already conducted in silence. The secret is to make the inner conversation so vivid, so real, that you cannot tell whether it was heard within or without. Close your eyes and picture them before you. Hear their voice clearly, as though they were seated beside you. Do not force, simply allow the tone, the sound, the words to form in your mind. Let them say to you, I can't stop thinking about you. I need you. You're always with me. Feel the warmth of those words, the thrill of their confession. Answer them as you would in waking life. Carry on the dialogue until it feels natural, until you forget it was only imagination. For what begins as imagination becomes, in time, experience. Every moment of the day you are in conversation. When you walk down the street, when you prepare a meal, when you lie upon your bed, the mind is never silent. It is always speaking, always rehearsing, always imagining. The question is, what script are you rehearsing? If you allow old fears and doubts to dominate, then you are carrying on inner conversations of rejection, and rejection will be your portion. But if you deliberately choose the words you wish to hear, if you dwell upon their love, their obsession, their devotion, then those words will move into the outer world and take on flesh. Do not underestimate the power of repetition. A single inner conversation may not bear fruit at once, but when you return to it again and again, day after day, it becomes the natural rhythm of your mind. And when it becomes natural, it must appear. The outer world is compelled to enact the roles you have already rehearsed. Think of the actor. He does not step on stage unprepared. He memorizes the script. He repeats the lines. He imagines himself in the role until the performance flows effortlessly. So it is with you. The role you wish another to play in your life must be rehearsed in the theater of imagination. Hear them speaking the lines you wish them to speak. Feel them responding as you desire. And when the performance comes, it will feel as though it had always been so, though you will know it was born of your unseen practice. Every word you allow in imagination is creative. Every dialogue, whether of love or of fear, is a seed planted, and the harvest will come. So discipline the inner tongue. Refuse to indulge in conversations you do not wish to see expressed. Replace them with the ones you choose. Persist until the dialogue of your mind aligns with the desire of your heart. Then wait in quiet confidence, for the echo must come, and the words once spoken only within will be spoken aloud, confirming the truth you already knew in silence. When you truly grasp these principles, you awaken to the reality that nothing in your world is beyond your influence. The thoughts you dwell upon, the feelings you accept, and the inner conversations you entertain are not idle. They are the blueprint of your reality. To make someone think of you, long for you, even obsess over you, you need not force nor chase. You need only master the quiet art of imagination. The moment you accept this truth and persist in its practice, you will see doors open, hearts soften, and the very person you desire drawn irresistibly to. This is not theory, but law. And when you live by it, your relationships, your experiences, and even the way the world responds to you will be transformed. Hold fast to your vision, live from the end, and let your inner world dictate the outer. Remember, you are not waiting for change. You are the change. Thank you for staying with me through this journey. If this message stirred something deep within you, then take it as a sign you were meant to hear these words today. Apply them, test them, and watch as your life confirms their truth.